Hi there, welcome back to Taste the Trend. I'm Devin O'Brien and I'm about to show you how to make this Skillet sun-dried tomato dip. Dips are so great for game day, and this one is loaded with sun-dried tomatoes, which I know you all love, so let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is prep all these delicious ingredients that are going into our dip. So I've got 1 clove of garlic here. I'm just gonna crush that. It makes it a little bit easier to peel the skin. And then to grate it, I am just going to use the microplane. Any like small sized hole grater is perfect for this. You can even do it on a box grater, just use the small hole side. Make sure you get every last bit out of the grater too. Now I've also got a large shallot here. We're gonna mince this up fairly small, like a fine chop, so that it really just melds into the dip and flavors it all the way through. You don't necessarily want to get like big chunks of shallot in this dish. Next up, we've got a jar of roasted red peppers. It's just a 12-ounce jar that I've already gone ahead and drained, and now we're just gonna chop them up into nice bite-sized pieces so that, you know, we're talking about dips here, so you want to be able to scoop it up and eat it without needing a fork and a knife. Then we've got a jar of sun-dried tomatoes here. You want to make sure to get the ones that are packed in oil, because one of the tricks to this recipe, or not tricks, just one of the secret flavor packers, is that you are going to use the oil from this jar to cook down the other vegetables. So I'm just going to remove 2 teaspoons of oil here and set that aside. And then you just want about a 1/2 cup of your sun-dried tomatoes. And we are gonna do the exact same thing. We're just gonna chop these up. If you are not a big fan of chopping, you can also find sun-dried tomatoes that are slivered and packed in oil, and those will work just as well here. I just find that the ones that you buy whole tend to be a little bit more tender and soft, so you're not like gnawing on it when you're eating your dip. And last but not least, we are going to green things up a little bit with just a little bit of chopped fresh parsley here. All right, we're gonna head over to the stove and get cooking. I've got my oil here from the sun-dried tomatoes. I'm just gonna add that to a large skillet, and I'm going to heat this over medium-high heat. Once your oil is nice and hot, you can go ahead and add that shallot first. We're just gonna cook this until it's nice and soft, take a couple minutes. So just when these are starting to get just a touch brown and they're nice and soft, you can go ahead and add in your sun-dried tomatoes. Just gonna cook these until they soften up a bit. It doesn't take very long, just about a minute. Smells good. Sun-dried tomatoes have so much umami. It just smells so savory in here right now. We're gonna add so much delightful flavor to this dip. All right, now that those are nice and soft, just got a 1/4 cup of dry white wine here. You can use whatever white wine you have on hand. Just scrape up any of those brown bits at the bottom of the pan. That's gonna add a lot of flavor to the final dish. You don't want to miss out on any of that extra flavor on the bottom of your pan there. All right, and once that wine has mostly evaporated, it's gonna happen quick, you can go ahead and add the rest of your ingredients. So I've got 3/4 of a cup of sour cream here. That's part 1 of the creamy deliciousness of this dish. Part 2 is a little reduced fat cream cheese. I've gone ahead and let this sit at room temperature so it softens a little bit, just makes it a little bit easier to mix in. But obviously you're going into a hot pan, so you don't have to worry about it too much. We've got our roasted red peppers from earlier. A little bit of garlic. 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese. And we're just gonna add 2 tablespoons of that parsley and a teaspoon of hot sauce. You can use any hot sauce you like. Use your favorite hot sauce. It's just to add a little spicy kick. because what is game day without a spicy, creamy something or other? And we're just gonna continue cooking this until everything is melted and melded together. And if it is bubbling up like mine is, you can just go ahead and turn the heat down a little bit. We don't want to cook off any extra moisture at this point. We're just trying to melt those cheeses in and make everything really creamy. Ooh, this is starting to look and smell so good. Now you can smell that garlic in there and the shallot and even a little bit of that hot sauce. People are going to love this. You can host, if you're hosting, whip this up at home, or even if you're going somewhere, you could pack this up and take it with you and people will love you. Now I'm just going to spread this out into an even layer. Turn off my heat now that everything is combined. All right, now that our dip is done, we are ready to serve it up. So this is just gonna get a little extra of that parsley that we chopped up earlier. Just gonna be a nice little garnish. Add some color on top. And this dip would be so delicious with chips or crackers or pita chips. But if you wanna go the extra mile, you can get a baguette and slice it up and toast it, which is what I did. Now it's time for the best part. I'm gonna dig in. This dip is so good. The cream cheese and the sour cream make it so creamy, but also a little bit tangy. And it pairs perfectly with the umami of the sun-dried tomatoes and those roasted red peppers add a pop of freshness. This dip recipe developed by Liz Mervoge is so delicious, you're gonna wanna make it. To get the recipe, head to eatingwell.com. And if you do make this recipe, take a picture, post it on Instagram, and tag me. I wanna see what you're making. Until next time.